Authenticating your worldview. What does it mean, worldview? What is your worldview? What is the significance or concern of the worldview that we carry? How are these perceptions that make up our worldview shaped and formed? And what is the impact and effect of the worldview that we hold to be true? If you haven't already, perhaps it is time to evaluate and authenticate what is your worldview and what do you hold to be true. In this video, I will discuss the significance of your worldview through the human experience. Everybody carries a worldview. That is, the way in which you see reality, life, and existence, as well as yourself, others in humanity, and the natural, material, and spiritual world. Your worldview is how you view the world and your place and purpose in it. Everybody perceives and experiences this world and their life a little bit differently. People adopt and develop different worldviews and different perspectives within these larger paradigms. This video, part 1 of 2, will focus on how our perceptions form in the first place, what impact our perceptions carry, and how we can authenticate our worldview to come into alignment with our true self, core values, and life mission. The concern or problem seems threefold here for the majority of people. Number 1, worldviews develop automatically and unknowingly from birth, and perspectives on life morph and change without conscious awareness. Number 2, perspectives are programmed and conditioned into people from the social material world with an agenda to manipulate human psychology and behavior for private interest. And number 3, people unwittingly base their life decisions on a worldview that isn't true for them, which deprives us as individuals and as a collective from reaching our highest state of being. This means that people are not choosing and evaluating for themselves how they see this life. Rather, much of our worldview takes shape in our consciousness automatically, based on our social, cultural, environmental landscape without a strong measure of conscious discernment. From birth, the social material world is programming the way that we perceive and interact with our reality, and thus the experiences and outcomes that we generate. This conditioning happens both by default to create a nourishing and thriving society for all people, and this conditioning also happens out of selfishness and greed and private interest, which can be rather deceptive and manipulative of human behavior. And since the influencers at the top of mainstream society tend to be the greedy people with all the power and money, it makes sense that we as a people would evaluate the narratives that filter through all social systems to identify what has shaped our worldview. So, to understand the concern of not authenticating your worldview, we have to first understand the significance and power of our worldview to begin with. As I will discuss today, your worldview determines how you perceive, respond to, and experience life, which means your worldview influences what you yield from life and what your life serves. Your orientation in life and how you base all decisions stems from your unique worldview, aka your version of reality. A worldview that aligns with your highest truth and best interest, and the best interests of those around you, will support you to living your best life. However, a worldview that doesn't align with your truth or best interest will hinder or even inhibit your ability to live your best life. Your life is not something to guess or gamble upon or to take for granted. So as I've been saying, if you want to connect with your true self, you can authenticate what you hold to be true in this life. The first step is to understand what is your worldview, and then is to authenticate your worldview, and then you can recalibrate yourself to fit your trusted worldview. In short, you are doing your due diligence on your own perspectives. Now, before we begin this 3-step process and look at some examples, let's take a look at a definition first. My disclaimer is that even this video, as objective as my aim, comes from my unique worldview, so you have to think for yourself. So, for a definition, your worldview is the collection of philosophies, beliefs, perceptions, ideas, and concepts that occupy your mind, whether consciously or subconsciously, and make up your perceptual lens, interpretive framework, and response patterns or active allegiances in life. This means your worldview creates your version of reality and how you perceive, interpret, and respond to life, and thus influencing your experiences and outcomes in life. Looking at this definition of a worldview closer, your beliefs and perceptions make up, number one, your perceptual lens or perceptions, which determines what information or data comes into your awareness, what gets your attention, what you focus on, and what you are interested in. Number two, your interpretive framework or interpretations, which is how you process and make sense of data, how you see things working, and what meaning and value that you give to each thing. Your worldview determines the perceived potential and capability of things and how you discern what is true, good, and wholesome. Number three, your response patterns or responses, which determines what choices and decisions you make, how you respond to and handle things, how you solve problems and resolve conflicts, how you care for yourself, relate to others, and treat the planet, what you participate in, how you spend your time, who and what you surround yourself, and what you hold allegiance to. And all of this influences, if not determines, number four, your personal reality or outcomes. That is, what reality you create, what you put yourself through, what you gain and lose, what you create and destroy, what you cause and affect, how you impact others and things, and what you yield in this life, and what your life means and serves. So you can see just how significant your worldview is. It is the central hub of all your thoughts, behaviors, and responses, and thus what outcomes that you create or end up with in this life. In The Universe Next Door, James Sire says, quote, "A worldview is a commitment, a fundamental orientation of the heart that can be expressed as a story or in a set of presuppositions, assumptions which may be true, partially true, or entirely false, which we hold consciously or subconsciously, consistently or inconsistently, about the basic constitution of reality, and that provides the foundation on which we live and move and have our being." End quote. In the foreword to Making Sense of Your World, Dr. Norman Geisler declares, quote, "The truth is that a worldview is like colored glasses. It colors everything at which we look. It is a grid through which one views all of life. As such, it helps form our thoughts, values, and decisions. The tragedy is that most people do not even know what their worldview is, how they got it, and how important it is in their lives." End quote. For the purposes of validating your worldview, I will take us through a process of evaluation, authentication, and recalibration so that you can think through each of these points on your own. Number one, evaluation, understanding your worldview. The first step to authenticate your worldview is to understand your worldview and your unique reality. This is a three-part evaluation, and it helps to take notes to write out your own answers. First, what do you hold as true that makes up your worldview? Second, what was your worldview shaped by? And third, what has been the impact? Starting with the first inquiry, what do you hold as true? Looking at your own personal world first, what do you believe about yourself, such as your significance and purpose in this life? And what do you believe yourself to be capable of? What is the value of your human experience? To what degree do your intentions and actions matter? And to what degree can you influence the outcomes in your life? For example, the difference in the belief between life is happening to me versus life is happening for me is massive. Those who believe life is happening to them are more likely to live their life on the defense with reactiveness, such as, I caught a sickness from something outside. It wasn't my fault, therefore I cannot solve this. I need outside help. In the reverse, those who believe life is happening for them are more likely to live their life on the offense, proactively, with a stronger sense of personal agency, such as, I am not feeling well, my immunity must be down, perhaps I should focus more on my self-care. In the first example, the problem and solution is externalized. In the second example, the problem and solution is internalized. This is because different perspectives lead to different responses, which will then create different outcomes. Looking at the human world, what do you believe about other people and humanity, such as how are we to treat each other and work together? For example, the difference between the belief survival of the fittest and all for one and one for all could also be massive. Those who believe in survival of the fittest are more likely to work toward their own best interest and try to find advantages in life over others. Whereas those who believe in all for one and one for all are more likely to consider the best interest of those around them and even for humanity and the planet at large. Looking at the material world, what systems of social services and governance should we enact and adhere? How should communities and nations work together? How do we make decisions on a grand scale? This contrast in perspectives that I just formally mentioned, responsible for self versus responsible for all, also influences the way that we set up social systems, make collaborative decisions, and structure governance. Sometimes perspectives are nuanced and can mean different things under different perspectives. For instance, while it might make more sense and feel better to consider the well-being of everyone in our individual decision-making, when we get to levels of social system and governance, it might make more sense to empower individuals and communities to maintain their sense of personal responsibility and autonomy so as to not become so dependent on social systems. Looking at the natural world, what do you believe about our planets and the surrounding universe? Such as, how should we use natural resources and to what degree should we excavate and explore our Earth and our solar system? And how much would you say we could learn from or rely on our star system for information? For instance, some perspectives value digging up the soil and exploring every particle for its inherent value and potential to serve a need, satisfy a want, or solve a problem in the human world. While others are more cautious and say, hey, maybe we should honor and preserve Mother Nature, live more simply, sustainably, and independently. Now, although the answer might seem simple, when human societies advance to a certain level of dependence upon particular resources, and people's livelihood becomes dependent on economies, then the system of services and influence becomes highly interconnected, that no quick decisions can be made without a multitude of effects occurring all down the line. Lastly, looking at the unknown and spiritual worlds. What do you believe about existence, where life originates, the purpose of life, and the spiritual, mystical, or even paranormal phenomena that enters our field of awareness in unexplainable ways? The degree to which a person acknowledges the spiritual aspects of life plays one of the biggest factors in how a person lives their life. For instance, the belief in eternal life versus ephemeral life could change everything about a way a person lives their life. So, in summary of the first point in the first step, what do you believe to be true about yourself, others, and humanity? What do you believe to be true about social systems and governance? What do you believe to be true about nature, planets, our solar system, and our universe? And what are your beliefs beyond the visible, measurable world? In this first step, you are just taking note of what you believe, perceive, and hold true. Now, taking those beliefs and perceptions that you've noted in your head or that you've written down in a journal, Let's consider for a moment how these perceptions formed, which moves us into point 2 of 3 in the first step. Number 2, what was your worldview shaped by? What people, places, and things have influenced the way that you perceive the world? Looking at any one or two of the beliefs that you've identified, at what age did you adopt or discover this or these beliefs? Who or what initiated this belief, and where were you at and what was going on at the time that you took on this belief? There are many things that shape the perceptions that constitute our worldview. Our worldview is based on personal experiences of ability, glory, and tragedy, family tradition and beliefs, to ancestral stories and wisdom, historical and generational patterns and events, religious and cultural paradigms, peer groups and social activities from childhood to adulthood, social standards, expectations, and trends, academic disciplines from the vast world of the arts to all forms of science and math, media and entertainment, corporations and mass marketing, business and economics, to politics and government, and so on. Now, think about your beliefs and where they stem from. And considering the list that I just mentioned, how many of these factors that shape our consciousness can we trust to base our life on? I mean, honestly, just taking Hollywood movies alone, consider how much these films have shaped society and the way we see our lives over the last 50 plus years. All the fantasies, desires, ideas, and perspectives, not to mention fears that occupy our minds coming from movies with who knows what kind of messages are built into them. There are countless information channels streaming through our minds. Shouldn't we want to know what these influential factors are that shaped our worldview and thus our lives? So, what are the perspectives and beliefs that you hold in any regard? At what age did you adopt them? Who or what initiated these beliefs? And what was going on at the time that you took these beliefs on? Next, moving to the third point in the first step. What has been the impact or consequence of the beliefs and perspectives that you adhere? In your personal world, are you being true to yourself, caring for yourself, and where you want to be in life? Have you found your significance, connection to your values, and life purpose? In the human world, do you have healthy relationships and boundaries to others? Do you collaborate well and get along with others? And do you care for and respect others and humanity? In the material world, are you responsible to society, taking right action, contributing within your community, earning an honest living, and helping to make the world a better place? Within the natural world, do you care for and respect your environment, make sustainable decisions to protect the planet? And how connected to nature and natural living are you? And regarding the spiritual world, to what degree are you spiritually aware, oriented, and cultivating? To what degree is your mind free, heart open, and radiance glowing? Every perception and belief within your worldview ripples through your consciousness and your energy field, creating or attracting or destroying or distracting something else. There is a cause to every effect. So what has been the impact and effect to the belief system that you have carried through life thus far? For instance, are you where you want to be in life? And are you in alignment with your true self, your core values, and your life mission? If not, perhaps it's time to authenticate your worldview. And with that, this concludes step 1 of 3, understanding your worldview. Now, obviously, it's a much longer process and one that you want to outline in detail for yourself. The first step looked at 3 points. Number 1, identifying what you hold to be true. Number 2, understanding the factors that led to the things you hold as true. And number 3, assessing the impact of these perspectives in your life. Keep in mind now that this is not about choosing positive beliefs and perceptions. This is about getting accurate with your thinking. Selfish thinking can feel good and positive, and it can bring about personal benefits, but that doesn't mean that it is good and accurate or that it will pay off in the end. Often the truth kind of hurts. So if you want to truly authenticate your worldview, we are looking for the truth, not what feels good at a glance. In part 2 of this video, Authenticating Your Worldview, I will discuss steps 2 and 3. This gives you time to think about and outline your beliefs and perspectives in the areas I mentioned or in other areas, and to identify where they came from and how they have impacted your life thus far. So, thank you for watching. We'll see you in part 2.